Larry Bird's great story. The first episode of this series was an episode on Kobe Bryant, the complete collection of Kobe Bryant's great stories. If you haven't seen it or you did miss the upload, feel free to watch it on the channel. But the amount of support on that video...
All right, y'all, welcome to Balls to Heart Sports with Marlon and Armon. I'm your host, Armon Williams. I go by Hammer. My co-host, my ace in the hole, Marlon Jones, a.k.a. Big Showtime, a.k.a. Big Pimpin'. He's not here right now. He's not available, as you guys probably see. You can tell right by now. So I'm going to be going ahead and rolling solo on this little venture between you and I. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I got a couple things that I wanted to go ahead and touch base on that I think you guys probably be interested in. And the first story that I want to go ahead and dive into is something that I've been catching on social media as of late. And I think that it's pretty interesting. I got some interesting takes, or I think are some interesting takes on this. And this is involving Gina Carano, ex-mixed martial artist. She was the first, female mixed martial artist to really break big on the scene. Not before women started getting invited to perform and participate and to fight in UFC. She's lately, as till recently, she's got into acting, and she was a member of Disney's The Mandalorian. It's a really popular show, and I'm gonna be totally blunt and honest with you guys. I've never seen an episode of The Mandalorian. I've heard about it. I am a big Star Wars fan. I know a little bit about it. I love the concept of it. I know that she's been an integral part in this series that Disney's had for their app. She's really popular, but let's just say she put her foot in her mouth recently. She got in a little bit of trouble, and I could go ahead and talk to you guys about this, but I think it would be better to go ahead and to show you exactly what happened to Gina Carano. She recently got laid off. So this is an online source that talks more specifically about Gina Carano and how she got recently canned by Disney.
Gina Carano will not be returning to The Mandalorian or the Star Wars galaxy amid backlash from a social media post the actress shared. On Wednesday, the hashtag #FireGinaCarano was trending online following an Instagram post from the actor implying that being a Republican today is like being Jewish during the Holocaust. The post has since been deleted, but screenshots were widely shared by users on social media who called for her firing from the hit Disney Plus Star Wars show. A Lucasfilm spokesperson has since said in a statement, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. In addition, a UTA agency spokesperson confirms that Carano has also been dropped as a client by her agency. This is not the first time Carano, who played former Rebel Alliance soldier Cara Dune on The Mandalorian, has faced social media backlash for her political comments. Last November, she issued certain controversial tweets, one in which she mocked mask wearing amid the novel coronavirus pandemic, and another in which she falsely suggested voter fraud occurred during the 2020 presidential election. For more details on the story, head to thr.com. For the Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Neha Joy.
Just saying that, I just realized that my mic was off this whole time. I don't know if my mic has been off this whole time or not. I apologize if you guys can't hear me. I'm doing this live, so I'm a F up. I totally F this up. It's all good. All right. Anyway, if you didn't get my previous take on Gina Carano's, I don't think that Gina Carano should have got canceled. I think that I think what she said was reprehensible. I thought it was in many ways it was deplorable. But having said that, I thought that she should probably get another opportunity or another chance to redeem herself. I don't think that that was I think that was a missed opportunity by Disney. I think we need to try to be a little bit more understanding of each other. Not even if what we say is is basically pretty reprehensible. I think that she should have got another opportunity to try to salvage herself and salvage her career. And I hope that she does land on her feet. I think in general, let me say this. I think in general, Gina Carano, she comes off to me as a decent human being. I don't think that she's a bad person. I think that some of her opinions might be a little bit misguided. She is fairly conservative. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with you being conservative or you being liberal or whatnot. But when you start putting out memes or you base your information off of memes and stuff that's not factually, fact checked. It's not factual. It hasn't been fact checked or proven. And you are a personality with her kind of influence. I think that it's irresponsible. But again, having said that, she shouldn't have been fired the same way that I don't think that Jemele Hill should have been fired from ESPN. And she's coming from a completely different side of the political aisle. She's coming from the left. So, all right. Let's see if I could get this right this time. I'm going to go ahead and make a transition now from Gina Carano into something a little bit more fun for you guys, less controversial. And I want to talk to you guys about a video that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a reaction video. It's going to be on my man, Larry Bird, the legend of Larry. And I don't know how many of you guys know this about Larry Bird, but Larry Bird, not only was he one of the greatest basketball players of his era and one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he was also quite the shit talker. That's right. Larry Bird was probably not just a shit talker. He was arguably one of the best shit talkers of the last quarter century, maybe even a little bit longer than that, because it's been a while since he's played basketball. But Larry would talk a lot of trash, and he didn't care. And the thing about Larry Bird, what made Larry Bird such a great trash talker, not only was he bold and brash with his what he would say was the trash talking, but he had the ability to go ahead and to cover himself. Well, those checks that he wrote, he could cash them. You know what I mean? He could back up his statement. He could back up his shit talk. So I want to go ahead and get in on this and show you a video that I recently found here. I think it's pretty hilarious. It's fairly lengthy, so I hope that you guys do watch it all the way through with me. But here it is, Larry Bird, and some of his epic trash talking.
The complete collection of Larry Bird's greatest stories. The first episode of this series was an episode on Kobe Bryant, the complete collection of Kobe Bryant's greatest stories. If you haven't seen it or you did miss the upload, feel free to watch it on the channel. But the amount of support on that video was incredible, and I really just want to thank all of you guys for that support. Kobe was someone who meant a lot to me, as he did for I'm sure all of you guys too, and hopefully that video did him justice. Today we're looking at Larry Bird's greatest stories. And because these videos take such a long time to make, the only thing that I ask is that if you enjoy this video, you can please hit that like button, subscribe if you do enjoy the videos because it does help my channel out, and also comment down below who would you like to see for episode 3. We've done Kobe, this is Larry Bird, which player should I do next? Without further ado, welcome to the complete collection of Larry Bird's greatest stories.
Well, you had the Bird night.
I had the Bird night. Yeah, that was a tough night, man.
And he would tell you to play and catch it over there and shoot it.
Larry Bird
He was not a nice guy.
He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun.
And they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, "I'm gonna score right here on you."
And he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me. And the last one was left-handed. And he asked me if my mother was watching.
Oh, that was funny. He asked him if his mother was watching. Okay. I don't know if you guys know who that was. That was Craig Elo. Remember Craig Elo from the Cleveland Cavalier days? Yeah, that was Craig Elo. Craig Elo is like, he was like the 1980s, 1990s whooping boy in the NBA. That's hilarious. But anyway, I apologize. Let's get back to Larry Bird, man.
Just came out.
And we never shook hands for 13 years.
Well, you had the bird night.
I had the bird night. That was a tough night, man. The biggest argument that night is, well, you only scored 6 on me.
But nobody was guarding Bird, were they?
Well, we were trying.
You were trying to.
No, but when a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots, and Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans.
You were playing the Hawks, and it was one of those times they were playing some home games down in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, I'll never forget that game. He was so hot, he started shooting threes with his left hand.
And it was in a neutral site, and I know that Larry...
He's shooting threes with his left hand. Now, I'm going to show you this particular game when they played the Atlanta Hawks. I think he dropped like 67 points or maybe 69 points or something. He went off. He was just shy of dropping 70 points. Watch the Atlanta Hawks bench, the end of the bench. They actually are like celebrating Larry Bird dropping dimes on the guys on the court, the guys on the bench for the Atlanta Hawks. This is how good Larry Bird was. They're like wilding out on the end of the bench over another dude from another team that's killing them.
He was always telling the ball boys, hey, go find out the scoring record. As he was getting taped on the tape table, he would always say, hey, go find out the scoring record in this gym.
Going into that game, I thought there might be a ray of sunshine because one of the bellmen told me that he had heard that Larry and a couple of his teammates may have gotten in a little bit late the night before. So I was saying, hey, maybe Larry won't have
Mike Fratello looked young back then. I remember my mom used to say Mike Fratello was like
to say that Larry had a hot hand is an understatement without question.
He was calling shots off the glass. Who's next? Where you want this one from? And he just made one after another. When he got to about the 55th point, you knew it was something special. Even as a player, and that usually doesn't happen, but we were down so much at the time, you had time to realize the game.
We're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side across the 3, and you're listening to him.
I don't know if you guys remember if y'all remember those McDonald's commercials, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, where they're like, okay, Larry would be like, okay, off the Raptors, it hits the scorer's table. It's going to hit the scorer's table. Off then bounce off, ricochet off the ladder, nothing but net. That was Larry in real life. That was a commercial. That was a damn commercial. It was a funny commercial, but that was Larry in real life, apparently. This dude, you couldn't shade him, man. This is hilarious, man.
That's a tough feeling.
Yeah, that was the one game that I think he tortured Dominique. He saw Dominique, this up-and-coming player, and he just tortured him mentally. That game, he tortured all of them.
I mean, it was mind-blowing.
I think Bird went by the bench one time, too.
He fell in the bench.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, and he called that one. That was the one where he fell in it. He literally...
Look at the end of the bench. Look at the end of the bench.
Said, off the glass into the trainer. And, and so it was a bad night.
It's going to be
Dude, I got to rewind this.
I mean, it was mind.
They're wilding out. They're wilding out on the end of the bench. Watch the end of the bench.
I think Bird went by the bench one time too.
He fell in the bench.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, and he called that one. That was the one where he fell in it. He literally said, off
They're
the
wilding
guys
out.
to the trainer.
No way.
Yeah, and so it was a bad night.
It's going to be a 3, and it's going to be awful decent. Then he said, who wants it? And I think Ricky Brown, I'm not for sure who it was, ran out after him. And he shot this high rainbow. It goes in. Ricky bumps into him and accidentally knocks him on our trainer's lap. So it was exactly what he said.
Antoine Carr and Cliff Livingston got fined by Fratello, I think, for
And Eddie Johnson for celebrating.
celebrating Bird.
Yeah, it was the best film session. Every time
Now, Doc Rivers said Eddie Johnson. I wonder if that's the Phoenix Suns Eddie Johnson. I don't know. I have to see that. Now I got to look because he said Eddie Johnson. I don't remember EJ playing for Eddie Johnson or the Phoenix Suns Eddie Johnson playing for the Atlanta Hawks. I have to look that up.
when I see Mike, we still laugh.
God,
It was
so
it was the greatest film session ever because back then you didn't have you watched the real game and just went with a video and Mike
funny.
rewound the celebration 20 times. He just kept not the shot. He just kept rewinding it, showing the guys. You remember they're giving each other high five.
And then somebody falls off the bench.
Yeah,
too.
that was Eddie Johnson.
Yeah.
Eddie Johnson falls off the bench in laughter.
I mean, everybody was entertained by this. Even the guys on the guys on the Atlanta
They
bench.
got fined for that, I heard.
Yeah, watch this. Watch the
They got
reactions
fined.
on the Atlanta bench.
Wow.
You see
They got
Scotty
the towel
Hastings
up there
put the
laughing. Yeah, when you get
now watch Cliff Livingston over here. I think this is Cliff.
Dude, the bench is ridiculous. They're wilding out. That's how good Larry Bird was. That's what a demonstration he put on that night on the Atlanta Hawks. And I guess in New Orleans, he had their bench, the Atlanta Hawks bench. Wow, you get it now. It's typically you see it all the time where you see a guy that's hot in the game and like his bench will be like hooping and hollering and jumping around acting a fool. I've seen that with LeBron. I've seen it with Kobe. I've seen it with Vince Carter, a bunch of players. I've never seen that for another guy, for an opponent, for his opponent's bench to be acting a damn fool at what he's doing, the demonstration that he's putting on. That's something else, man. That's crazy. That is crazy.
And our film session was 20 minutes of that.
Larry, put on a show that night, and I mean, just to get the whole Atlanta bench going crazy on some of the shots that he was making down the stretch is a pretty good indication. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before.
And we never shook hands for 13 years.
You at the three-point competition, walking in the locker room. Who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, when you walked in and asked who was going to get second place in the three-point contest, when you walked in there, what were you thinking when you made that announcement to the room? Just messing with all those guys like you always did with everybody?
I didn't. I had no clue. I never really practiced. Me and Danny used to shoot some before we went out there. Everybody's sitting there. Everybody's real quiet. You really didn't. You knew the guys, but you never were around them.
Three-point contest at the All-Star break, and Larry walks in and says, "I hope all you guys in here are thinking about second place because I'm winning this." Excuse me?
Who were some of the guys? Who were some of the guys in the competition at that time when you walked in? Who was in that field?
Who's
Come
taking
on,
second
Coach,
place?
you know.
No, I don't really remember.
Dale Ellis.
Yeah, Dale. What's
Hodges.
the kid that's?
I remember watching that. All-Star game, watching that three-point competition. I think I was pulling for Dale Ellis. Dale Ellis was one of my favorite players at that time. That dude could shoot his ass off. And Craig Hodges could shoot too. I remember Craig Hodges with the Chicago Bulls. And then Craig Hodges was briefly with the Phoenix Suns before he went over to Chicago. I remember Craig Hodges. Craig Hodges was a damn good shooter as well. I mean, this was not, a bunch of stiffs that Larry Bird was going up against. Obviously, he's the best in the NBA at that time. And, I know they don't shoot as many threes as they do now, but those guys could shoot. If they played in this system today, I'm sure that they probably would have loved it. The three-point shooters, the specialists back then, like the Craig Hodges, like the Danny Ainges and the Dale Ellises of the world, and even somebody like Reggie Miller, who kind of came on late or right before this era, like everybody's 3-point crazy. But those guys would have absolutely loved playing in today's era of basketball, man.
Yeah, Hodges.
Leon Wood.
And I'm sitting there with one of my teammates, Leon Wood. It was a great 3-point shooter. Larry Bird comes in last.
And nobody's really saying anything, so I walk in and look around, and it just came out.
He says,
"Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this."
It was so quiet. And after that, I said, oh, man, these guys ain't got no chance.
And I got lucky because I almost got beat in the first round.
But what was the reaction after you said that? Like, oh, that's just Larry Legend, or did it get dead silence in there?
His ass off, man.
It was silence. I think they were a little nervous.
I like it.
I think they were nervous. I had no clue I was going to win it, but you know, that's just part of the competition.
You see Larry finishing off. Look at that smooth rhythm. The shot, one step back, pick it up, the shot. Back and forth. He is like a machine, and the results are almost like a machine.
He didn't take off his top yet.
Oh, yeah.
See when he took off his top.
And then Michael Jordan.
It's hard to shoot out the Bird just made 23.
And then the walk off with your hand.
Michael Jordan said it's hard to go up after Larry Bird hit, what was it, like 23 threes?
And I mean, come on, Coach. Come on.
Well, I was struggling in that final round in Chicago. I know that. And I just got hot there the last 2.5 racks. You know, when you're shooting them, you don't know what the score is.
Right.
But I had a feeling by the way the crowd was going, I had to make the last one. And when I let it go, I felt it was, you know, sometimes you shoot them, you think they're going in, they don't. But that one there looked perfect all the way. So if it would have bounced out, I would have felt like an idiot. But it went in, I got lucky and got the check and went home.
And put up the finger. Like after he released it, midway into the shot. Like he just knew it was going to
15 defends the long distance.
Larry Bird was a bad mofo, dog.
He and Ainge, I think, were both in the 3-point contest together.
Was Mark Price in that too?
And Larry won the contest, and then one day we got on the bus.
I think that was Mark Price.
And we were on the bus for a few minutes.
Mark Price could shoot his ass off.
And Larry said to Ainge, he goes, "Hey, Danny." And Danny goes, "Yeah, Larry." He goes, "Who's the 3-point king?" You know.
Larry Bird, he was not a nice guy.
Craig Elo.
Back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland.
Matter of fact, there was one game in Cleveland.
And he told me where he was going and where he was going to shoot.
Nah, I won't hear about it.
Okay.
I won't hear about it.
It was 91-92 season. And we was playing the Boston Celtics. It was Bird, McHale, Parrish, the great three, Ainge, and we was up 1. Okay.
Where he was having a pretty rough first half, and in the old days in Cleveland, you walked off the court the same way at halftime. And I kind of puffed up on him and walked beside him and was like, "Yeah, you're 1 for 10." I was like, "That's defense, you know," and. He just kind of looked at me and said, "There's 2 halves." And he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me.
And we was up 1. Okay. He said, "Who's guarding me?" After we come out of timeout. Now remember, I'm a rookie because Price is out because he hurt.
Right.
He says, "Who's guarding me?" I says, "Craig Elo." He says, "Why you got that white boy on me?"
That right there, that's an ultimate shit talker. Larry Bird, a white guy. Larry Bird, a white guy. Who's guarding me? Terrell Brandon, I guess at the time he was a rookie in the league. He said, "Craig Elo." Larry's like, "Why you got that white boy on me?" Oh my God, he can't guard me. Larry Bird is probably like the closest thing to a brother from a white dude that played in the NBA that you probably ever see. And he talked shit with the best of them. You know what? They took it because Larry was a bad mofo. That is hilarious, man. White boy can't guard me. Oh my God.
Don't put no white boy on me. He said that was the most. Now remember, Larry Bird is white, right?
And the last one was left-handed, and he asked me if my mother was watching.
I think the story that sums up Larry the best was we had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flights canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place. Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says a couple other few choice words. And he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there. Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Elbert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me? And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we terrorized them. And that was Larry. There was no excuses. I mean, he just played. And I tell you, that was just his competitive nature. But a day when you fly all day and eat hot dogs in the airport, best thing was Elbert's look on his face like, what hot dogs got to do with me?
I still love the Xavier McDaniel story.
Anybody better than Larry Bird?
No, Larry's probably the best trash talker. The best thing about Larry now, he's so buttoned down now. He's just like, I didn't do that.
Larry,
that guy lies. He was the best trash talker.
Can you tell?
Obviously, Jordan.
Can you tell a Larry story? I haven't heard much of him. Any stories about him talking trash, and he's so quiet.
Yeah,
it's just every other time, and I never got to play on the court or see. But can you tell a story like?
Oh, well, I'd say there's a million of them, but one of my favorite ones is we're playing Phoenix and we're way ahead, okay?
The Celtics were playing the Suns and
we're down in the old Saddle Dome that they had outside.
Right.
And Larry, we're playing good as a team. Larry has the worst fourth quarter known to man. I mean, he's throwing the ball to the other team. I'm like, good Lord, we had like a 15-point lead. Next thing you know, we're down 2. And I'm like, how in the world are we going to lose this game, man?
So we have a play, out of bounds play. I'm taking it out, and Larry says, I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3. And I'm like...
And Larry says, I'm going to bust the play. I'm going to shoot a 3. And I'm like, Bertie, it's just getting to overtime. I'm talking to Robert. Robert, we need to get into overtime, man. Right. Try to get this ship right because we're sinking, man.
Right. Celtics are down by 2 points, and Bird is out by the 3-point line, and he's being guarded by a guy named Johnny High. And Johnny High is sort of backing away from Bird, and Bird says, hey, Johnny, you better come up and guard me a little closer. I'm just going to get the ball and shoot a 3.
This is why I hated Larry Bird. I'm going to tell you right now, much as I can sit here and I laugh now about it, back then, in those days, I hated Larry Bird. I hated Magic Johnson. I hated Isaiah Thomas. I hated Michael Jordan. I hated Karl Malone, John Stockton. I hated those guys. I hated all of them because I am a born and bred diehard Phoenix Suns fan. Those guys torched us. And Larry torched us as bad as just about anybody ever torched us. The good thing about Larry Bird was that he played Boston Celtics on the Eastern Conference, so we didn't have to see him as much as we had to see Magic Damn Johnson. Los Angeles Lakers, man, they used to bust our ass. I hated those dudes. Yeah, but now I can sit back and I can laugh at Larry Bird, the shit that he did to my Phoenix Suns teams back then, those days.
Game's over.
Larry not only tells me that, he walked by the bench and says, typical Birdie, just real slow.
So he tells the Phoenix bench, tells the coaches, yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this.
Fixing to bust a 3 on your guys and go home.
And, Johnny High sort of smiles and laughs about it.
And so he breaks the play.
And then the ball comes into Bird. He just turns around and shoots a perfect 3.
Shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, told you so. He stops running to the locker room.
Oh, my God. Look,
he looks at the
see
bench
a point?
And goes,
look, he pointed. He pointed at the Phoenix Suns bench, was like, I told you so. That dude, man, Larry Bird, oh my goodness.
Told you so.
Unreal.
Watch the reaction.
He's
Dude on the
walking
bench
off
for Phoenix
and puts
Suns.
an arm on Johnny High's shoulder, and he goes, Johnny, I told you to come out and guard me.
That was Birdie. And just he had the confidence.
Look, he
man,
gave
that dude
that.
had so much confidence. He talked to the coaches. He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun. Great competitor, man.
And I just started laughing. I was like,
He actually gave him
man.
that after he had the
You
shot
know,
on the watch.
it's
See if
just
they
one of
show
those
it.
ones where he just kind of he had
Falling away,
supreme
1 foot.
confidence, and it was just. But
Take a
that's
look.
the one when you were back in, and Larry went in and said, "Well, I won the game in the first 3 quarters, and I lost it in the third quarter, and the fourth
He gave
quarter.
him that.
Excuse me.
He
Then
gave
I won
him
it
that.
at the end. He goes, my record
Dude on the
tonight
bench
is
for Phoenix
2-1.
Suns just like, all right, hey man,
We all just kind
you
of
got
laughed.
us. You got us.
Bird used to tell people, I remember he told me a story about Xavier McDaniel. He said,
The X-Man, yeah.
X, I'm going to get the ball right here. I'm going to shoot a jumper right in your face.
It was a tie game. They had the ball, and DJ was stalling the basketball. And Larry was kind of standing outside behind him, like denying him the ball. And they called a timeout. And he turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to score right here on you. And I said, I know you will. I'll be ready.
Tie game, 13 seconds to play. Celtics basketball.
During the timeout, I'm going through a play, and about that time, Larry steps in and says, Coach, why don't you just give me the ball and tell everybody to get out of the way?
Oh, this is a good
It's Larry. And when he wants the ball, he wants the ball. After the timeout, we walked back on the court, and then Xavier was guarding me. So he tells Xavier, he says, I'm getting the ball.
And Larry said, I'm going to get it right here, Ed, and I'm going to shoot it in your face. He hit it and looked at me, and he was like, damn, I didn't mean to leave nothing on the clock.
He left time on the
Shot
clock.
shot right in my face. I just looked back, and the ball just went in, hit all net, and he said, I told you so.
You know, he was like, I didn't need to leave 2 seconds on the clock. He wanted to shoot it with 0 seconds on the clock. I walked back to the sideline like, damn.
Oh man, Larry was a bad mofo, man. That was a bad white boy. So that's pretty much going to go ahead. I'm going to conclude this session of Ball So Hard Sports. I hope you guys chance to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you know, that's it. So till next time,